Hello everyone, welcome to David at GOTOHOBBIES. My name is David, as you might have guessed, and what we've got here is a pop-up push button basin stopper. It's what you find in your sinks, basins, and basically what you got is sits in the plug hole like that with a little round top, and you push it down and to stop the water going down, and you push it down again, lets it up a little bit and lets the water down. So how it works is you, as I say, push it down, you see that, to let the water out, you do that. That's when it works. And the problem with these little things, they're a bit of a trouble sometimes. You can see around here, this all gets gunked up, and inside there's like a little V, and that little tiny little like bit of metal is a U shape, like a U shaped bit of spring steel, and one end connects into there, and the other one, as you can see, connects into there. There's a little hole in there, and when you push it down and release it, inside here there's a spring. So that keeps it tensioned. So when you push it down like that, it's under tension. Like that, releases it. Now, your little like chrome plug will sit on top of here. Now, we're going to, obviously what I've done, I've cleaned it. But the process to clean one of these is time consuming. But I wouldn't say not worth it. I'd say it's worth it because it gives you a satisfaction how to repair these things. So these little pop-up push button basin stoppers are a brilliant invention, but you just need to give them a clean now and again when it gives you a bit of problems. And what they do is basically they'll seize in that position and they won't be able to move, and it's all because they get covered in muck inside here. Being brass, it doesn't really corrode, but it's just what you put down the sink will make it clog up eventually with soap and dirt off your hands and whatever else you chuck down there. Right, so let's have a go at taking this apart, and it's quite easy. So obviously before you're gonna start for the very first time, I know it's clean now, but obviously if you look here, you will see it's going to be this is all around here, it's going to be gunked up. All around here it's going to be covered in it, and inside too. So couple of precautionary things. If you're going to do it when you're cleaning it, have something like a pair of latex gloves on. All right, and just if you're not sure, just watch the video a few times so you get the knack of it. All right, so first things first. So you're going to take it apart, you're going to clean it. One of the things you will need is a bit of wet and dry paper. This is aluminium oxide paper. It's a 400. Just a bit of scrap, wet and dry. Reasonably fine. You don't want anything that's going to be too harsh, right? Some oil, penetrating oil to free it up, which is really quite handy. And if you haven't got that, some good old WD-40 does the job. And there's a bit of a story behind that. I'll tell you one day about the old WD-40, where it come to be invented. Right, that's for another day. Right, so what you do, you try and get as much off as you can, right, before you do that. And then you will need a little screwdriver. There's this tiny little screw here. You just want to undo it a little bit, right? The reason why I say undo it a little bit, excuse the ears, is you want to take this out without removing the screw completely. Otherwise, what you also remember, because it's a little screw, it's a little Phillips screw, so you're going to need quite a small Phillips head screwdriver. So loosen it off, not all the way. So what that will do, you want to loosen it a little bit more so it releases it without dropping out the screw hole. And that's what that'll do, because it's a little like ridge there to stop it, otherwise it would drop out. There we go, it wouldn't do it anyway, never mind. So what we'll do, because you've got that in there like that, and this is actually stopping this coming out, so what you need to do is compress the spring a little bit. There's other people that will show you different ways. You can do it whatever way you want to. Follow me, but put your finger over the top of it, otherwise if that springs off you're going to lose it. And where you're going to find another one like that? You're going to end up buying a new one of these, which is going to cost you more money. Well, what we're trying to do here is save you a bit of money. So what you need to do, make sure you push it down and then just pull that out. It's gone inside, nothing to worry about, it ain't going to go nowhere. There we go. So that's the spring. Yeah, that's all that's to it. That's all there is, nothing more. Right, what happens, because it stops working beforehand, and this is why I've got it here to repair it, and well, not to repair it, to clean it. This all gets covered in gunk in here, and it needs all to be cleaned out. So get a bit of kitchen paper, just get most out as you can. Right, once you've got most of it out, you use a bit of emery paper. Right, don't wet it, just use it dry, roll it up, right round like that. Right, and just put it in there and give it a good old clean. Right, once you've done that, get another bit of paper, clean all the grit off of there, and then once you've finished with it, give it a spray with this to lubricate it. Obviously each component you're going to have to clean and get the gunk off, because this little it's almost like a little key ring, if you know what I mean, in miniature. Everything's in miniature. This is basically what this is spring still. That's why it's like it is. And that, if you look carefully, I don't know if you can see that one end has got a long end and another one's got a short end. Well, the short end goes inside. Yeah, that's what happens. That little short end there goes inside that track there, and because it was all covered, this will all be covered in gunk and everything, this will be discoloured. So basically get it all out, clean it all up, get yourself a little wire brush, only a small one, and it makes your life a lot easier. If you can't get a wire brush, just use the emery paper, but take your time. Just take your time and get as clean as you can. Right, sand it off, get it all nice and back to the original metal, and that's that bit done. This bit here will be covered at the ends in dirt and muck. Could be even worse than that, it could be covered in hairs, and so you've got to pull it all off and clean it. Take your time, be methodical about it, and this is what the purpose of this video is, not only to take it apart, but it's how to put it back as well. So there's a reverse procedure, because if you're anything like me, you forget how things come apart. But this, because I've done this a few times, I know how what I'm doing here. But we've got to learn. It's all a learning process. Right, now there's various ways of putting it back together, but the easiest way is basically you put your spring in there, you put that, there's a little hair there, get rid of the hair, put that back in there like that. If you notice that little screw hole, and that goes there, that's got to go in there. So we'll put, what we'll do, we'll put our little screw in first. This is always a very fiddly little screw to get back in, no matter what people say, because it's so tiny. It is really quite fiddly. So sometimes it's better off just getting hold of it and actually trying to align it up. You have to excuse my right index finger. That was an accident I had a long time ago. I can't bend it, and it's yeah, story for another day. Oh, anyway, going back to this, you just need to have a little bit of patience getting that screw in. You can see that it's just got that little hole it's got to go in, and because I've got such fat fingers, it doesn't always try to go the way you want it, but it's just a case of, there you go. What was all the fuss about? Right, don't forget, put your spring in, right, and then see that groove again in that bit. See the groove? Just line that in there, because that screws down, and what it does, just twist it a little bit to get in line. Do it up with a little flat bladed screwdriver just to put a little bit of what's name on it. Just come round a little bit more. Always be careful, these things. Take your time, because what can happen, it can fly out if you're not careful, because that spring is reasonably powerful. Right, excuse the dogs in the background. So right, if we didn't have this back in it, see that? All it will do is just do that. You push it down, it won't work. So, right, you say to me, David, how do we get that back in? Right, quite easy. So get yourself a long pair of pliers, remembering to put the short end inside, whereas the long end goes on the little end bit, which is, there's a tiny little hole in there. I don't know if you can see that. There's a tiny little hole in there. That's where that goes. Right. So get hold of that. But because that screw, that little screw there, is holding it in place and not popping, not allowed to pop out. So what you need to do is compress this down so you can get that to hook in that, like V in that brass cylinder thing. There's obviously a name for it. I don't know what the name is. Right, so what we do, easy to do it, push it down. Right, make sure I got it the right way around, David. Push it down. Yeah, put it gently inside. Yeah, just twist it a little bit, and there we go. That's all it is. It just pops into the groove, right? And that, if it's right, it will do this. Watch. It locks. That's all it is. Right. Don't forget that's if you can see it, as I said, there's a little groove, there's a little hole there. That's what the big end fits into. So now, once it's back into place, you need to put your little, like, key ring. Well, I call it a key ring, but it's not. It's just like a holding ring. It fits over the top of like that, but please be careful, because there you go. This thing flies out your fingers. You never know. You're never going to find it. If you're lucky, you're going to find it. So it could be anywhere in the garage or shed or the house, wherever you may be doing it. But make sure, also, I forgot to mention, there's a little groove all the way around here. There's a little groove that little spring, like key ring, sits in all the way around there. So what it'll do, once it's in position, it will drop in, that's what actually holds it into position. So I'm going to double check that's all the way down, make sure it's pushed down. It's a good little design. Right. Excuse me, get a bit nearer to the camera. That looks like it's in. Yeah, happy with that. So, as I was saying, there's a tiny little hole there. That's what that drops in. Remember, I know I keep saying it, but the long end of the two ends goes in there. The shorter one goes in that one. Right. It's fixed. It's simple as that. The only thing I haven't shown you is give it a little bit of spray with a good old WD-40. Another thing you can clean it out with, I haven't said to you because I've already done it, is this stuff called Brasso. It's been on the market for years. You can buy it in B&Q, any good hardware store, you can get it. All it is like that. Does smell a little bit, but it's not a bad smell. It's not one of those like chemically smells it's going to take your breath away. So yeah, last thing, make sure your screws, just give it a little, nothing more than that. You don't want to go tighten it up, otherwise you're going to strip the thread on that. Now, taking these out before an original first place, all you want to do, like say it's locked in position like that and you can't get it out, so it's in the sink. Get your pair of pliers, because it's going to be in that position. Put your pliers on, try and hold like that, and twist it anti-clockwise. So there's an old saying, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So left anti-clockwise is undoing it, right hand is tightening it up. People that don't know. And these things always got a right hand thread. So when you when a right hand thread, you turn it like that, turn it clockwise, we'll always tighten it up. Turn it left hand, we'll always undo it. So turn it left way to undo it, turn it right way to tighten. And when you put this back, all you want to do is hand tighten it. You don't want to put a pair of pliers on it and tighten it. You don't need to do that. Purely tighten it up by hand. Otherwise, when you come to take it out again, it could be seized in there and you can't get it out. Some people I've seen, there's like a little O-ring here, like a rubber O-ring. Don't need it. Don't need it at all. But the only thing I would say, use your Brasso to clean all the brass up, make it like new, well, nearish new, or clean. Inside as well as outside. Sandpaper on the inside and the outside. Right? Don't need to clean this because that was already inside in the thread, so that's going to be clean. All right. So the last thing is give it a spray with WD-40 just to lubricate it. Don't want to use anything like Vaseline or any grease or anything, because what will happen if you put that in it, it's going to attract the dirt. The dirt's going to stick to it and then clog it up even quicker. So then you've got an even bigger problem, because you're shortening its work life, and then you're going to have to take it out again or replace it with a new one. So cleaning it, once it's done, give a little squirt of WD-40 on there. See, it penetrates it. Little squirt of WD-40 in there, like that. Bob's your uncle, it's done. There we go. Easy when you know how. It's like everything. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. I won't be offended, but obviously leave us a comment one way or another. If you like the video, any comments you feel that you want to add, please do so. Be respectful. So if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, there'll be a lot more going on in the near future. So it's David at GOTOHOBBIES on YouTube, and thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Bye for now.